Hi there, it's Martin Bailey here, and today I'm going to walk you through the new features in Capture One Pro 12. There is a completely updated look and feel. We now have incredible masking tools, and Capture One Pro also now supports plugins. You'll notice menus have all been reordered and things are now in a slightly more logical place. The font used in the UI are now slightly bigger, so it's easier to read the labels now. The colors are slightly different, and all of the icons have been updated. One of the things that we have that I really like is that now under the edit menu, you go to edit keyboard shortcuts, and we can now search for the shortcuts. So say, for example, if I want to see everything to do with layers, I can just type in layer here and get a view of everything that has the word layer in it. It's really nice to be able to just search for these now and just find stuff much more easily. Without a doubt though, one of the most useful new features in my mind is the luminosity masking with the Luma range tool. And we're going to very quickly run through and show you how I edited this image. This is of the Hassan II Mosque in Morocco recently. The first thing I'm going to do is bring out a little bit of the clarity, and we're also going to just use the highlights here just to bring a little bit down. I am going to enable black and white, and I really want to bring out a little bit more detail in both the sea and the sky. So I'm going to just quickly open the curve and bring that down on the shadows and just take the highlights back up again, just adding some contrast. But now what we'll do is use a couple of masking techniques to take the sky and work on it a little bit more, because I just really like high contrast black and whites. So we're going to first create an empty layer. This is just an adjustment layer, as we can see. And to begin with, I'm just going to hit the B key and get a brush. I'm going to open that up to make it a little bit larger, and then I'm going to hit the M key to show the mask, and I'm just going to very roughly draw around the top of the screen here. And then if you complete that, make a loop, you can just do a fill mask. I'm then going to refine it because I want to try and avoid affecting the mosque and the buildings. So we're going to select refine mask, give that a second to work, and we can clean this up later. For now, I'm just going to do that. And then we're going to start the real magic, which is by selecting this Luma range button here. And what I want to do is adjust these sliders. You see how if I keep going, the dark areas of the sky are now showing through. I actually want to select all of the dark areas, but you can see how this is all automatically removing this dark roof here for me, which is great. And then I want to bring down the node here that is affecting the brightness, and I want to just have it so that the white in the clouds, and I want to change the feather a little here as well. I want to make it so that the white in the clouds is not affected by the change I'm going to make. And that's a great way to avoid darkening down the lighter highlight areas of the sky. And I'm going to use that for now. We can see that we've got a lot of feathering going off here. And then the brightest part of the sky is no longer selected. And this is what the Luma mask is giving us. I'm going to apply that for now. But another great thing about the new masking tools is that we can actually click this and adjust it again later if we want to. And that is huge. I'm going to hit the M key again so that I don't highlight the mask. And then we're going to just make some more changes. I'm going to do this with a Luma curve. As we can see, it's quite easy to add some nice contrast in the sky. I'm perhaps going to just pull the exposure down very, very slightly. And I'm also going to use the high dynamic range highlight slider to just bring that down a little bit more. and you can see that it's really easy to do some great contrast changes on the sky. Of course, I would need to go in and just clean up the edges here. I don't necessarily want the minaret to be darkened, and so I'll just clean that up a little bit. And this is the sort of stuff that, obviously I would normally take a little bit more time to do, but just to show you, we'll clean that up. And also I would go along and just clean up this edge down here and take out some of these areas that we didn't necessarily want. It's also a lot easier to hit the M key, and so that you can just see what you're doing. And then literally just scoot along here and clean some of this up. But then once again, it's really given me the ability to bring the sky down. I think I'm going to select the background and just darken that down a little bit more. Another thing that I wanted to show you is that we now also have an amazing gradient mask tool, and I'm going to just create another empty layer. And this time I'm going to select the Draw Linear Gradient Mask tool, or you can hit the G key. And for this, I'm going to select just the sea. And we've got a nice horizon that's pretty close here as well. So I'm going to take this and drag it up. And I'm actually going to just go a little bit wild on this to show you first. I'm going to hit the Shift key so that it makes it perfectly in line with the horizon. We're then going to hit the M key to display the mask. But something that I'm really, really happy with is that we can now, once again, edit this mask after the event. For example, if you hold down the Command key, you can move it. And another great thing is that it can now be asymmetrical. So if you hold down the Alt or Option key, you can change both sides of the gradient mask. So I can bring this down a little bit further, closer to the horizon, adjust it here a little bit. But then if I want to, I can make this side much more feathered. And that's going to help me to make it look more natural. And what I'm then going to do is just, once again, just add a little bit more contrast with these tools. But that is a really nice way of selecting just a certain part of the image. The third new gradient tool is the radial gradient mask. And you can create one of these with the T button, or once again, select it here or over here. What I am going to do is literally just draw one of the new gradient masks over her face, and then we can go to exposure, take that down a little bit if we want. I can go to the background and just increase the clarity again, back to our mask, and really just use the tools available to us. Everything can be applied to these masks. So it's very easy to just darken down the rest of the image and leave the face there. Another great improvement is that Capture One Pro now copies adjustments much more intelligently. For example, if I was to have a crop on this image, we can go to Adjustments, Copy Adjustments, and that puts all of our adjustments on the clipboard, and then go to another image. Until now, if I then paste those adjustments, you can see that the crop also goes to the other image. So I'm going to hit Control Z to get rid of that for a moment. And then we can go to the adjustments clipboard. And if we click on the ellipses, we now have adjusted except composition. If I go back and copy my adjustments again and then paste them here, you can see that this time all it's copied is the gradient mask, and it's also adjusted the orientation because we've gone from a portrait orientation to landscape. While we're on this photograph, I also wanted to point out that we have now much better responsiveness when you do things like rotating images, being able to rotate images much more smoothly. That's something that's new with Capture One Pro 12. One thing that I would like to mention but can't really demonstrate is that Capture One Pro now also supports Fujifilm film simulation. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is that we now have support for plugins. If we go to the preferences, you can see that I use JPEG Mini Pro, and now I'm able to use it as a plugin in Capture One Pro. I'm Martin Bailey. I'll catch you again online. Bye bye.